Hey guys, so I decided to make another video today. A side note, I just got off the phone with my mother and I came up with a creative idea. But I will say, I'm going to start this video by saying that people these days, and this is not a complaint, it's a simple fact, are doing everything in their power not to have to pay attention. And that means attention to anything. Attention to you, attention to their own life, attention to their family, their job. Because everyone is given an outlet through technology to not have to pay attention. And that is where these internet trolls and all kinds of other chaos is coming from. Through cell phones, through the internet, whatever the case that you can think of may be, that is where all of this is coming from. And to look back in time, the Egyptians from Egypt plainly stated that the written word and technology would be the destruction of humanity. Now you have to remember, of course, the Egyptians spoke Egyptian, but they also drew pictures, which we call hieroglyphs, on walls, and the purpose in doing that is, or was, to keep people in a creative mindset. But it was also to hide information because they knew that not many people then could read their hieroglyphs other than other Egyptians or scholars or wise men. So they did that intentionally. And they were not completely inaccurate when they said that the written word and technology would destroy humanity. Look around the world. Look how easy it is to access information now. People don't read books anymore, really. I mean, that's a generalization. But for the most part, people look things up online because it's at your fingertips. When I was growing up, we did not have all of this technology. There was no cell phone. We had a rotary dial phone, which, if you don't know what that is, look it up. And then it went to cordless phones. And then it went to cell phones, which were as big then as my computer is now. Seriously, look up antique old cell phones. They're fucking huge. They're as long as my arm is. And then we had car phones, which would plug into the cigarette lighter in your car, and lo and behold, there are no cigarette lighters in cars anymore. But when I was growing up, we didn't have all this. I was thrilled to get my first computer. And then they only had desktop computers. And that was in like the year 2002. Okay? It's 2018 now, and we have laptops and notebooks and everything else. So technology is progressing almost too quickly. And people are getting more ignorant as it does. So the Egyptians were not completely wrong. When I was a child, I can remember when your TV was huge. Like it had to sit on the floor. Huge televisions. And at a certain point in time at night, I believe it was 9 or 10 p.m., your TV would shut the fuck down. You did not get to sit up all night and watch whatever program you wanted to watch. The entire broadcasting system would shut down, and it would be rainbow colored bars across your screen and a brain damaging beeping noise that would go on for fucking eternity. And they did not come back on until a certain time in the morning. People did not sit up and watch TV all night long. There were no video games. The first video game I remember is the Atari. And for anybody that knows what the fuck an Atari is, okay, you had stick figures. And the only games were like tennis and baseball and little alien games, which I can't remember the name of that little alien game where it goes back and forth across the bottom of the screen and you have to shoot them all from above. But arcade, like, games, like the old school ones, like Pac-Man and all that, that's all you had for Atari. Simple shit like that. It wasn't anything complex where you can make your character now, like you can now, look like you and do all that. We did not have shit like that. We didn't even have a fucking VCR. And now we have DVDs and everything else. I grew up on records and 8 tracks. And people these days don't even know what the fucking 8-track is. But it's a tape, a huge, like, 8-inch long tape. I guess, 6 inches, whatever. But at any rate, my point is, the Egyptians weren't completely wrong whenever they said that technology would be the destruction of humanity. In getting back to my point about the conversation with my mother, people these days have forgotten what it is like to be a child or to get into contact with their own inner child. And that's where all this abuse and divorce and being miserable in your job stems from. People are beaten down to the point that they just don't give a fuck anymore. And misery does love company. But I'm here to tell you, in the conversation that I just had with my mother, for some reason, I can get in touch with my inner child in an instant, especially if I see somebody else is upset. It's easy for me to communicate with them and talk to them and make them laugh. So I suppose I have a sense of humor. Sometimes I surprise myself with the things that come off the top of my head. But my mother was talking about the fact that the only good thing about her going to work tomorrow, because she despises her job, she said the only good thing was that the general manager, like the district manager, was going to hold a meeting tomorrow so she gets off of work early. Which, I mean, damn, if you're looking forward to getting off of work early, you hate your fucking job, obviously. And I said, you know what you should do? You should pass him a note, like in high school, And this started a whole conversation about some funny shit. You're going to love this. I said, you ought to fold up a note, like with all the things that you've got to say, and then pass it to him and lean over and whisper to him, this contains classified information because I think that you should know what's going on around here. And then just walk off. Do you remember those days when we were kids and you pass notes in high school and do all that? I think it would be funny as fuck to see the surprise on someone's face. So then this conversation with my mother evolved into, I think you should take one of your empty wine bottles and roll up a note and put it in there and hand it to some random stranger and say, I found this in the lake or the ocean or whatever you're local to. And tell them, just reach over all nonchalantly and whisper, I found this in this particular place and I think you should be the first one to open it because it might contain important information and I don't trust myself to do it. Or write a note and say, do you like me? Check yes, no, or maybe. And hand it to some random sexy person that you see just wherever you are. At the grocery store, in a flea market. Just walk up to some random person and hand them the note and be like, walk off. Just walk off. And then when they open it and see that it says, do you like me? Check yes, no, or maybe. I want to see the look on people's face if they get something like that. And that's what my mother and I got a kick out of. Would it not be funny as fuck to walk up to some perfect stranger and say and do some shit like that? Walk up to a perfect stranger at your local dollar store and hand them a note and say something to the effect of, this has classified information in it and I'm going to need you to pass it along because I can only trust a random stranger with it. It's pertinent that after you open this, that you pass this information along to the local newspaper or the news, but don't open it until you get home. And then just see the look of shock on their face when they get home and open this note that you've written to them, which it doesn't even have to include classified information, obviously. I mean, you just write a note and just pass it along to somebody. And I mean, can you imagine what the look on their face is going to be like whenever these things happen? Those little childish games may seem stupid to some of you, but I will tell you, you know that shit would be funny if somebody actually believed you and did those things. Open that letter when they got home. Open that letter in a bottle when they got home, or whatever. I mean, just the childish nature of it is what is appealing. Just so you can get back to your childish self. Because trust me, I'm the first bitch that somebody will say something smart to me and I'll spout off, I'm rubber, you're glue. What bounces off me sticks to you. It's shit like that that makes you feel alive again. Or listen to songs you listened to when you were a child, like the wheels on the bus go round and round. Shit like that. The thing that brightens up my day the most are children. And when you're around children enough, even if you're not around children at all, you can still listen to those songs that bring back those memories. Or if you're a guy, get out your Hot Wheels or go buy some damn Hot Wheel cars. You know, those little cars that, hell, back in my day, you could rev them up and they would actually move. You just shake them back and forth across the ground. Or get out your Barbie dolls or your G.I. Joes and remember the times of when you were a child. And trust me, it will change your life. Here's a piece of life advice for those of you who actually pay attention and listen to my videos and want to learn something. If somebody sends you a negative email or a negative text because for some reason they have your phone number and they shouldn't, I don't give out my phone number leisurely, trust me. Negative emails, negative letter, negative carrier pigeon message, negative phone call, negative conversation in public. If somebody approaches you with that, walk away. Don't even say anything. Because the moment that you respond with something negative in return is the moment that they have beat you. They win the conversation and they win the fight. That is the only reason that people will provoke you for shit like that. Because there is evil in this world. And there are fucking mean people. You just simply don't respond and walk off. And they'll still try to provoke you sometimes. Where do you think you're going, bitch? Did you not hear what the fuck I said? Motherfucker. Blah, 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 blah. It goes on and on. The list goes on and on. It does no good to respond to people who are trying to fucking provoke you. At all. None. Unless you just want to get the shit beat out of you. Or you just want to beat somebody up. Which, that makes you an idiot too. So, why even acknowledge them? Because ultimately, like I said, they win. And you don't want that. If you want to win, then don't acknowledge them. Walk away from them. It's very simple to do. It's a lot, and it'll make you feel better as a person on the inside if you just get the fuck away from the negativity. Don't associate with people like that. If you believe in the Bible, read your Bible. It says that people are laying in wait to trap you in those kinds of situations. And worse, there's murder, theft, lies. They just want you to be part of their crowd or want to break you down, and you should not allow that at all. Make yourself the better person. So the latest craze that I have seen flooding the internet are quote unquote challenges. The ice bucket challenge, the hot pepper challenge. Those are good challenges. They were meant and created to benefit specific charities. The act of giving. Now these fucking millennials, which anyone who's watched my videos before knows that I despise millennials because they're fucking ignorant little spoiled brats. That's all they are. Because somebody outlawed ass whipping, which is a necessary evil. Otherwise your kids grow up to be spoiled fucking brats. Trust me, honey, my parents did not spare the rod. Neither did my grandparents or my great-grandparents. And I'm grateful for that, because I would hate to be some spoiled fucking brat like these kids running around here today. At any rate, these quote-unquote challenges have now progressed into the minds of millennials and have become the Tide Pod challenge, which is fucking laundry detergent, and they are eating laundry detergent and dying. And it's not a suicide mission, it's just fucking stupidity. And then now they have this, let me look at my notes. Hot coil challenge. Which, for those of you who are not informed as to what the hot coil challenge is, it is now a challenge where you turn on the burner of your oven or your stove and you put your fucking arm on it. So it burns the flesh off of your arm. Okay, the Tide Pod Challenge and the Hot Coil Challenge are not for charities. They're not for any kind of charitable anything. All they are is a bunch of fucking millennials and idiots that want to get around and make a fucking fool of themselves. So, they deserve what they get, honestly. I'm going to tell you how spoiled people really are these days, and this is in closing because I'm going to have to wrap this video up. It's cutting really close to 20 minutes. When I was younger, what I was referring to earlier about television programs and movies and stuff, and the TV would just shut the fuck off. Like, you didn't have an option to sit up all night and watch television. Back then, the credits that show up at the end of movies now were at the beginning of movies then. So you know how people will say nowadays, I don't ever sit and watch the credits of a movie if I go to the movies to see a movie or whatever. Back then, when I was young, you didn't have a fucking choice. You had to watch the credits first. And I think they should go back to that kind of shit. Another interesting tidbit is cookbooks used to all be written out. You didn't have a recipe list. You had to follow the cookbook exactly as it said to do. And it was like it was paragraphs. It was not here's the ingredients list. Here's 1 cup of sugar and 1 cup of flour and do all this, that, and other at the very beginning. That was in the recipe, so you had to follow the fucking recipe to the T, or you were going to fuck it up. Now they tell you, oh, you gotta do 1 cup of sugar and then do this and then, blah, 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 blah. We didn't have ingredients lists and credits at the fucking end of movies and shit, so people could just take the easy way out of things then. I'm going to refer back to my notes. I'm going to start changing up my YouTube videos. And I'm going to do a series of videos on different things. If any of you have any ideas on the following list I'm going to read to you, or if you have any additions, things that you want to know information about, just tell me. My contact information is all over the fucking place. Sometimes I put it at the end of YouTube videos. Sometimes I put it in the links in the description below. Blah, 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 blah. But I have a steel trap mind, believe me. And I know about all kinds of different life experiences. And I don't talk about anything unless I've experienced it myself, whether it be that you need help in a language that I know, French, Italian, Spanish, Latin, Russian, whatever, or any of the following list, you just let me know. And if you want, you can even tell me which one you think that I should do first, because it's going to start happening extremely soon. I'm going to start doing specific videos on specific information. I have relationship advice, life hacks, astrology, landscaping, medicinal herbs, and then I have a whole list of other shit. The journalism, law, different kinds of law I know things about, especially criminal law, any of these things. But at any rate, you guys leave comments below. I love hearing comments. And let me know what you want me to focus on first. I love hearing from you guys, and I hear from you all the fucking time. Whether it be through personal email, which is what I mostly get, or comments. You can see my ex-boyfriends leave comments on my YouTubes all the fucking time. If you look back through them. But at any rate, I love hearing from you guys. And I'll put my contact information in this. I have Twitter, of course, YouTube, Facebook, I'll put it on here. And I'll even put a link to my personal website, and you can just go down through there and respond to me to whichever one you want. I love you guys. See if you can get me some subscribers.